Hey everybody, this is Chris. That's Joe. That's Brian, and we're here to talk about some nonsense. So,
And
uh,
make fun of ourselves.
oh, definitely, definitely.
That is a given.
So we've actually kind of got a few things to talk about this week. No Rob, no Ben this week. Not a big deal. Rob's got some stuff going on at work that he's extremely exhausted about, and then Ben, he's got some personal stuff going on. So we're gonna be just flying the three of us, the three amigos, as it were. So we're gonna cover tournaments, and just general chat. So, um,
Well,
and
and I missed last week, so unfortunately I missed all the talk of all the new sets that and spoilers and all that stuff. So,
we didn't
Oh,
talk about it.
oh, okay.
So
I
Well, then there's a lot of news there that we could still talk about too.
I didn't have time to set up for that because I've
No,
been busy all day.
I'm
uh,
actually more excited in the modern two-team takedown meta than I am in the spoilers, to be honest with you.
True. Yeah, I am
I'm talking about
pretty
that.
excited about that. Um, man, I think I got to turn on a better light. It looks like I'm in a '70s porn with the way my lighting is.
Wait, we're not in a 70s porn?
Sorry to disappoint you. All right, there. That looks a little bit better.
well, it's my wife always says, you know what the two sexiest animals on the farm are, right? Brown
No.
chicken, brown cow.
Oh my god. Oh my god. All
Yeah,
right.
jokes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh my god. Yeah, you just got here for the '70s porn, J-Biz. So yeah, the invitational tournament is over. We have a champion. I would say a new
It's not
champion.
me.
Oh yeah. I would say a new champion, but it's he's been champion before, so
Well, I mean, everyone who was previously in the Invitational was previously at least a top four.
yeah.
So,
Technically
but
there's only two winners of our tournaments that were in the invitational. Ben won Troy's Phonats. That's why he got into there as a champion. And he's marked as a champion in our Discord just because he has won an online tournament with us that we carry. But yeah, James Bloor won. Laurier did something very impressive. He reset the bracket to force a second match in their matchup. So
right.
it's, like it only happens. I think it's anywhere from 10 to 25% of the time that the bracket or that someone actually wins, and to reset the bracket it only happens like 40 to 50% of the time. Most of the time, the person that won the winners bracket wins it just flat out there.
Right. But once you get into the quote unquote losers bracket, it's you've got the harder climb. You've got to get that. You've got to beat them once and then beat them a second time.
Mm-hmm.
And usually that that undefeated team is usually powerful enough to make it work. So
there's a reason they won all their games.
Right.
So yeah, it was and it was Laurier was close to winning the whole entire thing. I'll say that. He just had some bad rolls on that last game, but other than that, and you guys check it out. It's on James and Zach's channel, and we have it in our Dice Master or Invitational Tournament playlist. It'll direct you to their channel, but check it out. It's an amazing game. So,
Man, I gotta say those playlists are so nice.
yeah. Probably gonna do the same thing with this one. I don't know if there's as many creators as there was last time.
No, there's not. A bunch of them had other things going on, other commitments.
Yeah.
We had 7 or 8 creators. We had 7 or 8 creators and 5 total channels in the Invitational.
Yeah.
Participating in the Invitational. It was crazy.
Yeah. This time, I mean, you and Ben are technically creators now. I mean, no bunny ears needed for that. But
the only thing I can create are children. That's the only thing I'm good at.
So the matchups are in the Discord. And Troy's gonna have it updated on the Dice Coalition. I put the Dice Coalition link for the teams there. So if you don't want to go to the Discord, you can view it at least on their on the website for Dice Coalition. But up to date matchups and updated information about the tournaments are going to be in our Discord from now on. So,
one more note on the Invitational. A big question that everybody has is, are we going to do the winners losers bracket thing like we did again? For the most part, not for a while. It's not a definite no, but the thing is it does better for competitive gaming in general to have that kind of competitive bracket where you have to work your way all the way back to the top, and because it gives you that drive. That's what I like about it the most. It doesn't go well with Dice Masters. And pretty much the only format that I've really seen that works with Dice Masters is a Swiss, and then a cut, or just Swiss in general, and you just compare it, because Dice Masters is more of like a strategic long form of a type of game.
Well, there's one of the other things is, the Invitational was, a quote unquote a match of the champions, so using a cut format like that was by design, whereas a lot of these others are much more casual, laid back, and we want everyone to be able to participate as much as possible. So we don't want, I'll use myself as an example here. I lost my first match. I then go to the losers bracket. I lose my second match. I'm out after 2 weeks. And I'm twiddling my thumbs waiting for that tournament to end, for the next one to start before I can rejoin.
Yeah.
So, specifically this tournament and a lot of our other tournaments, Chris, correct me on this one, are much more casual. And so we want to make sure everyone has as much engagement as possible throughout the course of it.
Yeah. This tournament, and honestly, I do understand the gripes with people's thing about double elimination, but honestly, it was interesting. It was fun.
I'm the biggest person who's been saying anything bad about double elimination, and I'm not saying it was bad for Dice Masters. I have a personal grievance with it outside from years ago.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to get into it. It's my own personal issues, but it worked for the format that was built and whatnot for this tournament, but it's not for every tournament.
Yeah.
Right. And so going back to what you said, it's really for smaller, kind of tighter play, or tournaments. And again, so reinforcing what we do here on the channel is, from what I've seen is, yeah, it's a casual environment, but as with everything, our tournaments, the winners of our tournaments, even up to fourth place, they have a chance at going to the Invitational, and the Invitational offers people who win a little something more than the rest of the people who they play their 6 games, and even if their record's like X-4 or X-5, they're good because they got their games in. But if you're like some of these other players that we have who follow us and who follow other channels, they want more than that. They want to be able to say that they did something to accomplish something and have the prizing and the bragging rights to do that. So we offer both. We offer for our competitive gamers as well as for our casual gamers, because we want the whole community to be involved.
Yeah, and I don't want someone to think that they have to be either super casual or super competitive playing our tournaments, because honestly, it's a Dice Masters tournament. It's what you make of it. There may be people playing super competitive in the tournament, but chances are, if because this upcoming one's going to be Swiss, even if you play the super competitive person in the first round of Swiss, you don't have to play him again. So,
Bodhi, that's a good suggestion. The problem with that is it takes up entirely too much time. Doing round robins in smaller brackets, especially whenever we're not all in the same place, to be able to just run the games back to back, that could take a lot longer than what we normally have. And what we normally have is a month and a half. And I'm pretty sure I speak for everybody whenever I say by week 4 of playing your 2 teams, even your 2 teams, you're already itching for the next event. You're itching for doing something else.
Change something,
Yeah, you don't want to play the same. So we could do a round robin with cuts, type of scenario, and then we can organize brackets like that. But it wouldn't necessarily be two-team takedown, and it could be something similar to a draft situation where we do an online draft one week, and then we do a different online draft the next week, and then we keep on whittling down the pools until there's a top 8, and then we can go from there. I think that's a better way to do that kind of play. I enjoy that idea and I enjoy the prospect of that, but not for constructed play if you're going to be taking the same 1 or 2 teams.
Yeah, because I speaking for myself, yeah, I played with a super competitive Yonti team, and yeah, it's fun, but one day of playing with it at a competitive tournament, I'm done with playing it. It's not any fun anymore, and even teams that I'm just casually having fun with, I want to move on to something else. And when you practice against someone like Ben or even Shadow or like anyone, everyone tries to play different teams the whole entire time and not just play the same team over and over and over again, because that's just boring. Getting your reps 100 times with one team, yeah, it's all good and all to play in a competitive tournament, but it's not really fun. So, personally.
So we will not have anything like double elimination again unless it's for smaller brackets. I'm talking to 8 to 16 players. And maybe the next invitational, we were shooting out ideas about. It's still a ways away. We've got a whole another calendar year before we ever want to touch that again. We'll probably be talking about it come December, because by then we'll have our 5 tournaments from this year in, and we can start gathering our numbers that way. But realistically, for the next invitational, I would want to do something different than global escalation. We like on the back end of the channel, we've been really busy thinking about ways to promote different formats, ways to promote different plays, different styles of play. A draft is not far from the realm of the invitational, especially since the players that win these games are they're geared to the competitive side and they have experience with drafts. And that's what I look forward to seeing. I look forward to seeing players who can think on their toes and make snap decisions based off of limited information. That's actually one of my reasons for liking draft, and that's one of the reasons why Ryan and I pitched draft for the one big weekend event coming this Sunday, because we were
Even though I am the world's worst drafter. I mean,
but you still like it. I enjoy it. I'm subpar. I'm decent, right? If I open a bad pool, then I'm out of the tournament, and that's not because it's a bad pool. It's because I still haven't gotten into working out the best use of the bad pool. There are players who are really good at limited events are the ones that can recognize good and bad cards and play at the same level with either.
You know who I think is probably one of the better draft limited players in our little group is probably Robert. Robert's really good about getting just a crap hand dealt to him and cobbling together a decent win condition and just things that you wouldn't think would be good. Then all of a sudden in a draft situation, it's super good, and you better watch out because Robert's going to do some crazy things.
Well, I hope so, because I want to test that theory whenever Sunday comes around.
Yeah.
Sunday.
By the way, the one big weekend this weekend, it's going to be on Sunday. Scheduling for Dallas.
Yep.
It's going to be at Doc's Comics and Games. Me and Robert are going. These 2 jokers are going. DM Armada and everyone that wants to come hang out.
We're up to 13 confirmed, potentially 16 that I know of, and maybe more.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I've heard from different groups that they're planning and scheduling carpooling. So
yeah.
I mean,
yeah,
me and Robert
we've got
carpooling.
13 actually registered for the event. So
and I haven't registered yet.
Yeah, I registered you.
Did you register
okay,
me?
cool.
Yeah,
okay.
I registered
I
all these
appreciate
guys.
that. I appreciate that. I was like, man, 13 seems kind of like a small number.
But I mean, 13 or 20 or even 30, it doesn't. We're gonna have fun, in my opinion.
We will, and in fact, if we stay with those low numbers and get everything done, everybody in the audience, all the viewers and all the followers of the channel might get to see something special that we will put together.
Yeah, we are working to try to live stream it. If we're not going to be able to live stream it, we will record it and play them back. So
we're trying to get multiple setups to go out there, so it just isn't one match. per thing. We're this is a whole new thing for us. We're trying to get that going.
Yeah. The only concern might be the bandwidth there for upstream is
not so good,
shaky at times. So I don't know how well we'll be able to do the multiple stream out, but I've got a potential workaround for it. So we'll see what we can do.
I was thinking of my cell phone for data for our stream.
We'll talk off channel. We don't need to bore everyone with the technical details on that one.
All right.
So
yeah, that's coming up. And then anything else about One Big Weekend or the Invitational? Any final thoughts on the Invitational, Joe, since it was your baby? Or no?
Did we lose him?
Hello, yeah, I think we lost him.
Okay.
I was like,
perfect timing to lose him, though.
Man, shut me out hard.
We just asked for your reaction on something, and all we got was deadpan back. So,
yeah, I'm on my phone right now. The laptop decided to restart because I installed that software. So what was my reaction supposed to be?
We're asking what your final reaction was, final thoughts were on the Invitational, because it's your baby for this go around.
And honestly, I couldn't have had it any other way. Two Beholders, and Beholder is by far my favorite character in Dice Masters. Two Beholders, and they use those Beholders. Well, one of them was used to the best of its ability. I still think using the common Beholder with globals like Hela or the new Poison Ivy is the best way to go about it. But it was used to make a Red Eyes Bee Dragon cost 1 bolt, which is insane to me.
Yeah.
And just the results there for that tournament were great. And it showed us that yeah, global escalation, it really is a broken format, because WizKids hasn't put a lot more time and effort into kind of strengthening things. I mean, we're going off of a ban list that was 1.5 years old.
Yeah, and we added to it ourselves.
And we added to it, and even after adding to it, there was still some really degenerate things. And I err on the side, and Ben and I disagree on principle with this, I err on the side of banning less, but only banning the cards that will be the most degenerate or give access to the most degenerate combos, whereas he's more of, you ban things that have previously won to stop people from repeatedly using them. But in my opinion, if you ban the thing that sets them up, they won't be bringing it because it's just too hard to set up. Of course, Laurier proved us wrong, both of us wrong, with his team, which he was able to pivot on both a large Beholder that was swinging in for a massive amount, or smaller Black Widows and unblockable Angels that were swinging in with, this ridiculous amount of, like, I think in one game he fielded 5 characters at one time with Bifrost.
He fielded 4 sidekicks. It was such a ridiculous turn. Oh my god. And he won it on turn 3.
But that just goes to show that, Dice Masters itself is still a very broken game, especially the older cards and older sets. And so for me, if we were to ever attempt another global escalation, it would have to be an honest reformatting of that format. It would have to be an honest look and saying, okay, you can have this card in there or this character in there, but you can't have this global in there, because realistically, some of the globals are just dumb.
Yeah.
But all that being said, I enjoyed it. As the tournament organizer, I couldn't have had it go down any other way. And not because of wins, losses, but because everybody was super up for it. Everybody recorded. There was only 2 games that didn't get recorded out of the entire thing. And that was beautiful to me.
Yeah.
That's the results that I want to see coming from not only our channel, but the community, really.
Yeah. I think we only recorded like 2 matches ourselves, honestly. So everyone really just pitched in as much as they could. I always think that if you can record something and you don't want to put it on, you don't want to make a channel, or you don't want to do anything like that, send it to me. I will edit it, put it up, and we'll see where it goes. Because DM Ramada wanted to put a game, his matchup, and he didn't have time to put it together like he wanted to, so he gave it to us and said, do what you want with it. And we did it. We put it up, and I think it was one of my better editing jobs personally, but that's just me saying that. So, and
Well, yeah, that's all I gotta say about that.
okay. All right. So yeah, I think the Global Escalation tournament was interesting and fun. I think it was kind of a little bit of the double elimination and doing a format that Dice Masters kind of forgot about because they kind of just made it and didn't really cultivate it anymore. So
Yeah, I felt like it was another route for WizKids to try to get more players, but they didn't really. Like I said, I don't feel like they put a lot of time and effort into refining it. They may have said, like, "Hey, what's the best format to do this?" And then people said, "Oh, well, this is a great idea," and they said, "Okay, well, we'll run with that, but we'll make the ban list,
Well,
different."
the biggest issue we've had with it is they've released it, and then we've had no additional tournaments to add to that list, but
Or
a lot of
support.
product release.
yeah.
So it's the list is stagnant, from their point of view, and as far as they're concerned, it's not going to get any more on it because they're not running any competitive level tournaments anymore.
Which
And
is a shame.
so the idea of the tournament or the idea of the format's great, but as a community, we need to manage that list our own. So whether that's we're adding our winner teams to that ban list, or we're just banning additional cards based on brewing that we've come across and found broken things for or whatnot, then we just need to build it, maintain it ourselves.
Yeah, because the one thing that we've found, this is why it's a big discussion with us, honestly. If we go with the whoever made it to the finals, that team that does not have a global on it, that card is banned. There's 6 total cards that are going to be banned if we go by those rules. So we're just deciding if we want to ban 6 cards or we just want to ban degenerate combos. I mean, I don't know.
I mean,
We got a while.
My 2 cents is the as written for Global Escalation is those cards all get banned. We're not banning onesie twosie. It's anything on the team without a global gets banned, then we need to add it. And there we go. But we got Joe messing around with the Zoom, giving us the
extreme close up.
Do you smell what the Joe is brewing?
Well, no, I was actually, that was to show my interest in what you were talking about, because I was really interested.
Oh my god. Is this going to be your new toy that you're going to be playing with throughout the broadcast?
No,
okay.
It's not. I was just making sure to minimize the amount of mess the audience sees in my house.
Man, they've got mine. Trust me. They don't care about what your mess looks like. They can see all mine. So
so yeah,
Heavenly. There we go.
We don't know when we're going to be running a Global Escalation tournament. We did plan things out kind of a little. We had a rough estimate of what we were going to have, and the next tournament we kind of have planned, but it's really kind of like we need to put our heads together and see what we're going to do.
We haven't. So
we can neither confirm nor deny any matches going on at Origins. We're not high enough up the food chain for WizKids to be talking to us directly on it, and secondly, they have neither confirmed nor deny anything publicly. So
yeah, that's actually so. We really do need to address that as a channel, because one of the main reasons why Chris started this thing, Chris and Rob, is because they wanted to invite people in the absence of those bigger events, not necessarily with Dice Masters, just in general, with other games or gaming. And I feel like Dice Masters is the best vehicle to address that kind of stuff with, because what they're doing is, I feel like they're going through a transformational period where they're either willing to hand off the company to somebody else to say, hey, it's your problem, we can't afford to do it anymore, or I mean, I'm just being honest.
Yeah.
From what I see, this is exactly the same move. They're minimizing the amount of production by moving to LCG, which is great. Lowers production cost, and your design space is kind of smaller, tighter, and so that means that you can explore it a little bit better within LCG model. So whenever they cut costs and they make things more efficient like that, I've been a part of and the result of 4 or 5 corporate takeovers now, from small business to big business and big business to small business. And it's always the same thing. They cut costs. They go down to like the most bare bones efficient structure that they can. Somebody else buys them out or they sell to someone else. And then that company then takes ownership of that and tries to either improve it or further minimize the costs. So that's what we're looking at right now. We're honestly looking at this really weird transformative period where, yes, WizKids does care. I believe that. I believe that wholeheartedly. They're still putting out OP kits. They're not putting out WKOs because it does cost. But or they're not scheduling WKOs because it does cost, and partly because stores are not giving them enough feedback. We are, but the stores aren't.
Well, and a lot of it is the attendance, of the WKOs was dwindling.
Yeah.
And, it's one of those, if there's not a large enough fan base from, through the mechanisms that they've put in place, which is win, then, they've got to look at sales and they've got to look at, competitive side of win. They were seeing sales, but they weren't seeing competitive in win. So they shifted. They shifted to, kitchen table play.
Yeah. Because
buy one and done, and there you go. And did we lose a lot of our existing player base when that happened? Yes. We lost a lot of the collectors. I was one of them that was almost lost. I was as a collector. But, the community as a whole was too good for me to walk away from.
There are still games going to be happening in Origins. We don't know if a Nats or anything is planned, but we just know at the moment, no WKOs have been or will be announced for a certain period of time.
And Bodie, the thing is also for them to try to make it look as good for possibly another gaming company or another thing like that, they've got to be like, yeah, see, we got all this great product come out. We got these players that are interested and everything like that. So at Origins would be the time that they'd be like, yeah, let's go all out with it. But WKOs aren't.
Going back to, as I said, the new product release, let's look at what's been released and announced to release in 2019. I think is 7 sets.
Now
that's unprecedented. That's unprecedented in in our game, in Dice Masters previously. There's never been that many sets released in a year.
Yeah.
So the people saying, "Oh, it's dying," but we're getting 7 sets in 1 year. Now I'm including the campaign pack and the 2 team packs as a set. If we break it up, we're talking a much larger number.
So going back to what you were saying, Ryan, is that the results that they were getting, the data was not matching up with what the community was saying, and largely that's kind of WizKids' fault. They tripped over their own stone.
Well, a lot of it, they were seeing the sales. And they had issues with their distribution model and whatnot, and so they worked to address that. But the competitive side, the numbers were just going down and going down and going down, and so they made the decision to limit the competitive side and increase the tabletop side, the kitchen table side of it. And we're our 3rd set in on the campaign boxes. And I think after the, I'll call it the kick in the groin of the LCG model announcement, to the competitive players, it's one of those, I think they're showing, no, they're still here. They're still supporting the game. They've heard our grievance about a complete and total lack of competitive side by beginning to release OP kits again. But until they see an uptake in competitive play through win, they're not going to support it any more than that.
See, I think the OP kits are more of the store owners being like, "Hey, we need something for Dice Masters to return
but that's
about."
the thing. I mean, they shifted to a kitchen table format, which meant people weren't going to the stores to play anymore.
Yeah, and meanwhile,
and
these
so
store owners still have line product that they want to get rid of, and
right, the biggest kick of it all is the elephant in the room known as draft. They reinvented the format of draft by coming out with the draft packs. We got two of them in. We got TOA, and then
We got Thor and TOA.
Thor, and then they kill draft 100%. It's like, okay, as much as I am a horrible drafter, the draft format was the ultimate level playing field. Okay, it's you come in and everyone has the exact same access and build and go.
yeah,
And the closest we have to it now is, you limit yourself to a set. Okay, everyone gets to play out of the Avenger Infinity Pack. Have a good day. Everyone gets to play out of the Justice, campaign box. Have a good day. But you're not there. There's not that nuance of as I always call it, the hate drafting. I know that this card does nothing for me, but I need to keep it out of the hands of other players. So I'm going to draft it just to make sure it can't be used against me.
yeah. Yeah, I think really the draft packs were the perfect thing that they could have came out with, and then they killed it right away.
And that, I think, was the biggest kick to everyone, not just competitive players, but everyone, was the fact that they killed draft after reinventing it and making it 100 times better, in my opinion. And there hasn't been an answer from them on that format.
Yeah.
A sealed format, or whatever you want to call it. Now, what's funny is I'm in Win, when you register your event, they give you effectively two choices: a constructed or a sealed. It used to be constructed in draft, but they dropped draft and they now call it sealed. So this was a very recent change. So they've addressed it internally, but they haven't notified us of what that difference is and what a sealed format, in their opinion, is. So, maybe that's something we can beat PK up a little bit about, to see if they can give some information on exactly what they call sealed format.
Sometimes PK just doesn't even know what they're talking about half the time.
No, he doesn't, but he's our closest link to them,
So, yeah. All right. Let's move on from that. That's all we have to say about that.
Well, I'm going to say one more thing about
my God.
Future sets coming out. D&D. Oh, sorry. Okay, I'm done.
Yeah. I'm excited about D&D.
That was a welcome and pleasant surprise right there.
Yeah, I did not think that we were going to get a fourth D&D set. That one, that I'm scrolling through that list and I saw that, and I had actually one of my campaign players was actually over, and I went running down to him. I'm like, dude, another D&D set. He's like, he thinks I'm talking actual D&D. He's like, oh, really? What are we talking about? I'm like, man, it's Dice Masters. You don't play. He's like, oh, well, fine. He walks off.
So I have said several times on the stream on a Wednesday, I don't think they're going to be doing another D&D stream and another D&D set, and I'm so excited they are, because I think it has. Well, this gets into the straw poll we had last week. What IP do you think is the strongest?
Well, first question is, define strongest. Are we talking most meta influencing?
It's you defining it yourself.
So I can make an argument 10 different ways to Sunday that the D&D IP is the strongest, but I'm also, it is my favorite. It's what it drew me into the game, But as far as typically the most meta impacting cards come from a D&D set, the ones that just totally skew, Dwarf Wizard, the rare Dwarf Wizard, was our first serious blanker. It was just a blanket blanker. It brought us Attune. Let's address the worst offender of the meta crushers as all, the half-elf bard. You You've got Elf Thief, which gave you the ability to use your opponent's energy. I mean, things like this. They're, those cards are just the ones that are coming off the top of my head. We're not even talking basic actions. Polymorph, ability to get your, the first one that really allowed you to manipulate your opponent's characters in the field and get them out.
Yep.
Magic Missile.
Oh, I hate that card.
Resurrection. The Resurrection Global, which we've now seen reused on several different cards. We've got Robin Res, we've got what is it, Atlas Res or Adam Res? I can't,
yeah.
Yeah, where we can now use a fist to do it and stuff like that.
We've got a straight up reprint of the card.
Yeah, I mean, we've reprinted it. It's
so.
To me, it's been the most meta influencing set of all, and to me, it's also the most thematic.
Yeah.
It you can have your party of adventurers fighting down the evil lich with his aberrations and monsters and going from there. It's just, to me, if I were to sit down with a single set, I'd sit down with any D&D set and brew a team and have fun.
Yeah. Well, any IP, I would say D&D is probably the best, honestly, hands down. I don't think, and I'll just say this: most of the I don't have the straw poll right now because I'm a dum-dum and didn't put it in my thing to remind me to talk about it. I'm just remembering it, but it was 50-50 with D&D and also Marvel.
Marvel, I mean, there's so many Marvel sets that, of course, you could always make an argument that it's strong just because there's so many cards in the Marvel IP.
Yeah.
I mean, there's more Marvel sets than all of the others combined, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
And if not, it's very close.
Yeah.
DBF. What is DBF?
Delayed Blast Fireball.
Oh. I thought he was talking about an IP. I was like, is there an IP around there?
No, I mean, yeah, he's got, Ring of Winter, Staff, Delayed Blast, it brought us Fabricate, again, it's brought up, now it's also brought up the most unused keywords of all time, only ever been used once, Cleave.
Yeah.
So, I mean...
Yeah. So yeah, now DM Ramada is right. It's one vote for D&D over.
I don't think I voted on it, so go ahead and add another one to D&D for me.
Okay. We didn't have that many people vote on it. That's just something that we kind of talked about. Me and Robert on a car ride. We were just talking about what do you think? He thought that Marvel. I told him he was wrong. It's D&D.
Well, what I want to know is how many people voted for Yu-Gi-Oh?
None.
Okay.
We didn't have that many people vote. Like
okay.
Well, I'd say so. Like in the line of IPs, from the strongest to the weakest, Yu-Gi-Oh is actually somewhere in the middle, and DC is the last one.
No, Turtles is the last one.
I'm sorry, Turtles. Turtles is the last.
Turtles to me would be the lowest. Warhammer, I will put second to last for right now, just because I personally have not gotten a chance to use it that much.
Yeah, we don't.
It's the only it's a single set.
Yeah,
so,
we don't have anything else.
It's hard to judge it just because I haven't played with it enough.
I'd agree with that.
It potentially can be, move up the list, and it probably will move up the list as we've got more sets come out for it.
Yeah.
And I get more time to play with it. I think since December I've gotten 8 game days in, so I haven't had a whole lot of time to play a whole lot over those days.
Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to this Sunday, playing some. Unless Steven needs me to do something with the tournament, but looking forward to playing.
I don't think I don't think we're gonna need that too much. We've got Steven and myself. Already, doing most of that. I'd rather have more players and less TOs. All
right, cool. So yeah, that's a thought on that. So I kind of want to do some more straw polls, but I haven't had time to get anything ready for a straw poll. I think Bodie has it right there.
I'd agree with that, pretty much across the board.
And I think Yu-Gi-Oh! And 40K could be even, honestly. I would not argue with that.
I would say Yu-Gi-Oh! Well, I forget about Justice. Like pre-Justice, Yu-Gi-Oh! To me was a little higher than DC, but Justice has really brought in a lot of good cards.
There were individual sets of DC were never, War of Light was fantastic and carried the DC, IP for a while. World's Finest was another very good one. Bat Family, love it or hate it, it brought the flip mechanic, which added a different dynamic to the game.
I love flip personally.
I mean, flip is a gimmick to me, and it's
that gimmick one weekend.
You can utilize it, and you can wreck face with it because of the mechanic of the way they built it. But it's
it's the ultimate hard thing to deal with in a limited situation where you can only have things from Batman. It's so good.
Well, no, you have zero cards that interact with flipping as far as like counter strategies. So that's one of the reasons it just goes largely unchecked. Yeah. So if you had a really good flip team, there's no hard counter for a flip team.
Yeah.
Well, and I'm sorry that we apparently we lost a player because of flip. I don't like it, but I'm not that much against it. It was a gimmick.
I'm more likely to quit a game because of blanking than I am for flipping. Come on.
The issue I had with it is since it was such a new mechanic, it was one of those things I always forgot to do. And then it's one of those, oh, well, it's too late, it's past the time in the turn, time in your turn that you can do it, so you can't do it. And I'm like, but I haven't actually done anything yet. All I did was pull my dice out of my bag and go, oh, yeah, I need to flip this. Oh, no, you can't do that. Okay, fine. So left a bad taste in my mouth. But
that also comes down to
I just don't play with flip cards, period.
No one does.
Really. Well, no, I mean there's people that do, but there's people that use it and don't ever flip it. They want that ability that's on that one side and have a good day. Or you build your team as a flip team and you use the Catwoman that just gets insano big for every flip you have, and you've got a 12/12 Catwoman coming across with hopefully unblocked. And have a good day.
I personally like the new flip cards where it's like you have to meet a condition to flip. I think that's really interesting.
That's a little bit better, whereas it's a triggered event, not a I choose to do it.
Yeah. WWE being slow down. Let's
you watch that Candy bleep, sorry, I my train of thought on my rock references went downhill from there. So I'll just go with Austin 316. There you go.
All right. So, oh man. All right. Let's talk about the modern 2-team takedown tournament a little bit while we got some time here. So everyone agrees about the ranking on the teams for the most part. So this modern 2-team takedown event, we split it up into EU and NA. So the only person that's different is Ben, because he decided to play in EU because he's from the EU originally, and it just makes things work right. Same thing as when we did the draft event. I played over in the EU, even though I've never been over to Europe, but it helps the tournament run smoothly. So it's going to be Swiss. We're going back to Swiss. Top cut, and then single limb from there. If you have a WizKids ID, well, everyone has a WizKid ID in the tournament, so they'll be getting credit for playing in it. I believe we're going to be using the WizKid login that Ryan has access to, to do that?
Yeah. So, just a quick clarification on that. We are not going to be using it to run the Swiss, but at the end of the event, we will be entering it in so that everyone gets their credits for it.
Mm-hmm. And figures
You know,
out based on WizKids rankings where people should be instead of just going on what our usual thing that we use, which is
Right.
challenge, which it's kind of stupid sometimes. Very, very
it
stupid.
I've tested it in the past. As far as for the Swiss rounds, it matches fine.
Mm-hmm.
So the pairings it comes up with through the Swiss rounds is all fine. We've always had the issue with the top 8 cut; it doesn't calculate it the same.
Yeah.
And so that's what we're gonna do is we'll run it through, challenge, to get all of our pairings. At the end of it, we'll enter it all into win, and then get our top 8 out of that.
Yeah. So, and those matchups are already announced, and they're in our Discord. Let me see. Do you guys want me to go over them right now?
Yeah, let's let me
And
pull them up here, take a look at them too.
we don't have anyone's real name on here because we asked what you the Discord name, because there's a lot of European people that don't want their last names out there because it's super ridiculous over there right now. So we don't have anyone's real name if they didn't want to put that. So I'm just gonna go on
Yeah.
record as saying that. That's why we don't have that. It's players' preference. So let's start out in the EU bracket. It has the least matches, but could be very, very interesting. So, and by the way, the seating is it's random, period. So I literally put it in the app, hit randomize 3 times, and it came out with the rankings. For some reason, it put James Blore or Jacques Blonde versus Peter VD. So Jacques Blonde is number 1 seed. Jezco is number 2 seed. TJ Boz, number 3 seed. True Mr. 6 is the 4th seed. And then Jacques Blonde again will be playing Peter VD. Jezco will be playing Tama. TJ Boz will be playing Sketcher 298. True Mr. 6 will be playing Ben Said Scott. Interesting. There's only
couple
one
of those I'm interested to see how those play out.
There's only one filthy savage playing Yancey in the EU, and that's Ben.
Go figure.
Yeah. And a lot of the teams thought that there was going to be more Attune teams. A lot of people put that Black Widow on their team.
Yeah, I think everyone went anti-Attune and built something that can withstand it and try to do something else. And so that's why we didn't see as many Attunes on there.
Yeah,
they didn't bring the Black Widow for only Attune. It just so happens to catch.
It catches a lot of things.
Tabasco Rogue. It happens to catch the Rogue. It happens to catch, like you say, in a lot of things.
Yeah, it's anti-range. It's there's a lot of things it catches. As such, it creates an anti-Attune environment.
Yeah.
So
the meta, the gameplay meta at live tournaments kind of sets what people think is going to be there, and then it just, I think she's going to be good against a lot of things. Let's not get that wrong. You guys are right. I'm just saying, I think a lot of people thought it was going to be Attune heavy in this tournament, and it's just not.
Well, I mean, we have Mystic Attunes, Mystic's Attune, which showed up once or twice. I couldn't remember from the list. I think it's only shown up once.
I think we had a lot of, or 2 or 3 Navi teams. So.
Yeah, I noticed a couple of collector teams. I didn't check how many of them had Navi on them as well.
3 of them actually.
Mm.
So I love this. Everybody brought, the majority of players brought Black Canary, Danger Room.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll tell you why I thought that was so hilarious, because whenever Ben and I were testing, and several other people were testing with me, I kept on running into those games. And so I was like, you know what? Let's just go with the flow. And I made a decision to go with the meta and run collect your villain control, and it turns out that was the right call because the majority of the teams that I'm going to be facing are villain heavy, and because they rely on that Black Canary.
Yeah.
So it's like they got a field of Black Canaries after using Danger Room, and all I have to do is just collector in a Navi to deal upwards of like 10 to 12 damage.
Now,
Bodhi,
here's a
you're gonna
question.
force Ben to jump on with that Flash reference.
Also, I actually was gonna take a dig at Ben for the Flash. One thing that the Flash does really well is get around Black Widow's prevent damage text, because the Flash, it's lose 1 life per attune. It's not deal 1 damage. So
Right.
that's the other thing about it, and I was giggling at that because it's just another reason why it's so great.
Now, a quick question. Again, I haven't gone through all of the teams, looked at all of them. So I have a question of how many. We had 2 cards that everyone was real hot and ready to see when Justice came out, and that was Parasite. The one that gets to add his attack and damage or attack and defense, and the Clayface Global.
I was surprised.
How many of those did we get? How many of those are we seeing?
6 Clayface Globals, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
And then
I think we had
for for the Parasite, there's 2 different versions that are predominant in the meta. 3 of them are the 2 costs that add to the attack and defense, and then 2 of them are the 3 costs that take away abilities until end of turn.
So I've just compared the teams against each other to make sure no one put the same card on each team. So I haven't really had the time to go in depth into with it, but I'm about to.
What little play testing I've done with the Clayface Global, the thing I've come across is you've got to step up your game on bag management, because you can wreck your bag very quickly with the ability to purchase multiple lower cost stuff quickly with it.
Well, yeah, because you purchase a 2 cost, then you immediately use Clayface to bring it out, so you can purchase another 3 or 4 cost, which is great in theory.
It's great in theory, but you're wrecking your bag. And
you're adding
that's what
2.
I was noticing.
Yeah, you're adding 2 to what's already 4, so you need to be careful with that.
What the best thing that I found within set for it was Power Almighty. Power Almighty was one of those sleepers for me. I didn't think anything of it until I was in a match with one of our local guys and instantly saw him just basically rolling his entire bag every turn, and it was just insane.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Let's get to the North America bracket real quick.
Yep. Sorry, you got me on tangents.
I know. So again, these are randomized seeding. Our number 1 seed for NA bracket, Bodhi. Number 2 bracket, Yort. And then number 3 seed, Juran, Jar01N. Number 4 seed, Rob_L. Number 5 seed, J Baumi.
Come on, keep a straight face through them.
Try.
That's Jocelyn, by the way.
Yeah. And then number 6 seed, Super K. And then facing Bodhi in the first round is number 7, M Brewer. Facing Troy, our number 2 seed, is our own number 8 Tabasco Rogue. Facing number 3 seed, Joran, is number 9 seed Shadow Meld. Playing number 4 seed Rob L is Reg Sims, number 10. And then Jabaumi, number 5 seed, is playing Ingledum. It's always weird seeing his name like that when I just call him something else. But and then number 6 seed is facing Super K is facing number 12 Jordo.
Yeah, so you have a problem with the number 11 wanting to call him a different name. It's the number 12 I want to use a different name on. So
yeah. So this is just the names that people prefer to be called in the nicknames for Discord and everything like that. If someone wants something else, they need to just let us know. But yeah, that's the matchups for North America. I think in a randomized seating, I think it's fair enough. And if someone's super competitive, they won't be playing someone that's not very competitive after week 1 or 2.
So my question for you on this is, we're breaking the 2 brackets. When do the brackets get recombined?
That's
Is
the
it
weird
just after
thing.
the first round, or are we going to get it to where
It's Swiss.
run them each independently until the final round?
Run them each individually. I'm thinking we might do 4 rounds for each, even though I don't think EU needs 4 rounds. But to make it run the same amount of time, I'm thinking about running it 4 rounds for Swiss. For
No,
both.
you'll have to do 3 rounds for 8 people.
Yeah.
It's 3 rounds.
Yeah, you don't want to run a 4th round; it messes things up.
Okay, then.
So you do 3 rounds, which presumably will be 3.5 weeks from now.
Yeah.
So by then, people will have gotten their schedules lined out to where they know the 2.5 weeks worth of staying up all night, or staying up late or getting up early.
Yeah. So yeah, they're going to be completely separate. So NA is going to be running 4 rounds of Swiss because that's the only way to do it fair for them, and EU is going to be doing 3 rounds of Swiss.
And then we'll do a
top 8 cut. So
top 4 from each, or okay.
Yeah.
I just, I know we talked about splitting it. I was more interested in how are we recombining it, or are we running them 100% separately?
Well, with that being said, if we're only going to be playing 3 rounds out of this many participants, that makes tiebreakers very interesting, especially if you're going off of seeding.
Yeah.
Well, because there's going to be a lot of upsets with randomized seeding.
Well, that's why we're going to be running the Win, just to make sure that it runs correctly.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
it will calculate the strength of schedule that we expect, because we're gonna do the cut through Win.
Yeah. So there's not going to be anything crazy that goes on with Challenge doing something crazy, because we'll be taking care of it in the back end with Win. So I don't want everyone to worry that the rankings are going to affect it, because this is randomized. It's the only way to do it fair. I hit randomized 3 times. So yeah.
The initial seeding really doesn't influence anything when it comes to the way Win does the top cuts.
Yeah. So and that's gonna. I think after the Swiss is done with each one of them, me and Ryan are gonna get together and get that done, get that taken care of. So everyone else on the channel probably won't know how it goes. Hell, I may not know that much until Ryan gets done crunching the numbers, so to speak. But yeah, it's gonna take a little bit longer than usual, because usually we just calculate the thing in Challenge and go with it from there. But we're done doing that. It's just not.
It's good to run the Swiss in there, but if we're trying to do any type of cuts, it doesn't match. And we could attempt to do the math and figure it out and create a template and blah 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 and all this stuff. But to reference what we talked about earlier, if we run it through Win, we're going to show to WizKids that there's still a competitive scene for the game. There's still competitive interest. And so, hopefully that will help drive getting additional competitive resources from them.
And plus, it's going to be really funny for them to see that these people from England are playing over in Frisco, Texas. That's weird.
Well, there's a reason we were able to get WKOs out in Frisco when the nation's largest HeroClix store is just an hour or so away from it on the other side of the Metroplex.
Yep.
We were able to show numbers consistently, for it. So.
Is that the one right next to me?
Yeah. No, the Sci-Fi Factory there by you is the nation's largest HeroClix distributor,
and they are one of the the nation's smallest Dice Masters distributors for stories.
Yes, they were, before they just started giving them away, they were selling Uncanny X-Men feeds for $25 a feed. The last WKO there they had such low numbers, and they still had enough stock of them that they just gave everyone as a participation prize. a gravity feed.
Probably most of those
Unfortunately, I
went up in the
wasn't
trash.
able to make it to that one, so I didn't get a free feed.
Man.
I'm sure if I walked in there now and asked for one, they'd probably be like, "Just dude, take them."
We're not saying to go over there and ask him for those feeds. We're not saying that. Don't do that.
Well, actually, Chris, you may want to do that and see what we can get, and maybe we could do a local draft event out of them or something.
Out of Avian or out of Uncanny X-Men?
Uncanny X-Men isn't that bad.
It's pretty
bad.
messy.
It's messy, but you have the random someone got a Professor X with the global, so those games get real fun.
Yeah, but there are two different rarities of that, so
Yeah.
you're gonna get higher chances.
Right, no, you'll get a couple of people that will have it, but it won't be on everything. And you've got you'll get your Falcon, trying to get your sidekicks through without any other support. It's mostly whoever gets a Psylocke, Quan the Assassin, is who's going to dominate.
I could see in a Uncanny X-Men draft, each participant drafts out of their own individual feed and passes along the cards.
Here's my 100, one stack of 90 cards and another stack of 90 cards.
That would be so.
We'll each end up drafting the full set, except for some rares. Who cares? Plenty of super rares to go around.
Oh,
Not that
man.
any of them were any good, but
I think I'm only missing one in that set, and that's the Scarlet Witch. That's it.
Scarlet. Was there a Scarlet Witch super rare in that set? I thought it was.
Yes, there was.
Was it? Okay. I might have an extra. I don't know.
But yeah.
I know there was the White Queen, and Spider-Man, but I don't remember the others.
They're very forgettable, but
yeah.
But yeah, it's. I thought when I bought this house, and I thought I'm close to this the Sci-Fi Factory, and I've heard that they have really good events. I didn't realize that. No, not anymore.
Really good for everything else.
Yeah. Oh well. They've been pretty good for Magic. I know that.
Yep.
Big store.
Yeah. Friday Night Magic is freaking huge there, and then release night is freaking huge. But yeah. You guys have anything else? We're probably gonna try to get more numbers for the event going on pretty soon, and I'll try to do a deep dive into just the stuff.
I think one of the statistics I'm most interested in, as this is modern, I'd like to see what set has the most cards on the most teams. So
I believe it's
Guardians.
from looking at it, it's still Guardians.
Yeah.
I'd be interested. I want to crunch that number. See, did Justice knock it down a little bit? Where are we at? So I think that's the one that I'm most interested in seeing is what set has the most cards.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, I'll give you that. Justice has a large number of it has a large number of Black Canaries and Parasites in there. I'll give you that.
And
some clay faces,
Some clay faces. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just like I said, I don't think Justice is the new number one, but did Justice take away enough to to knock guard?
I think it's going to be the set with the most sidekick dice and basic actions dice used. That there is that. It's the coolest ones. When I was watching the Invitational, a lot of people use the two dice.
I've yet to use mine.
Oh, I'm using mine Sunday. I'm so excited.
The reason I'm not using it is everyone else is using them. This way, I don't have to worry about which ones are mine, which ones are theirs. Because there's, it's like, nope, I'm keeping with mine. My pearlescent ones, and now I know for a fact always which ones are mine. If we, if they get mixed up, if you buy one of my basic actions or whatnot, no worries. We easily can tell.
Man, these are just like the ones that I tried to recreate, try to make, and WizKids went and did it. And they did it so much better. So,
well, yeah. I mean, I've been working on my own custom dice for fan made cards and stuff, and the painting of them is hard. So it's they've got the resource to do it a lot better than I can.
They've got the
So.
machinery and everything. They're so much better at doing things because a bigger company than just
my
me.
dice look better than their dice, in my opinion. I just can't. I don't have the ability to do the coloring like they do yet.
Mm.
So
Little
you'll
bit
get to see some on Sunday.
a little bit of sandpaper and acrylic, and you're good to go, man. You're good to go.
Yeah.
All
So
right. Well, I think that's it for now. I think next week we're gonna be just talking about matchups and just how the one big weekend went for at Docs and everything like that. So
I'm looking forward to next Wednesday because we've got a lot to talk about.
yes, the only person that's not going to Docs is Ben, but
wah wah wah.
so yeah, I think that's gonna do it for us here. You guys got anything else or no?
Not that I can think of until 5 minutes after we say, go, stop. So.
All right, well, that's going to do it here at do us here for CR Game Room. Be sure to like, subscribe, do all those things, and try to be more social with us. Go to our Twitter, Discord, and Facebook. And until next week, talk to you guys later. Bye.
Have a good one, guys.
Oh, I got to turn off the thing. It's so complicated. All right, turning it off now.